You are not losing your brain suddenly. You are losing it slowly. Not in a dramatic way, not overnight, but quietly, day by day. And most people don't notice it until it starts affecting their life. They begin to forget small things. They struggle to focus. They feel mentally tired, even when they didn't do much. And they think, maybe I'm just busy, maybe I'm just getting older. But the truth is often simpler and more important than that. Your brain does not stay young automatically. It doesn't protect itself without your help. Just like your body needs movement to stay strong, your brain needs the right kind of activity to stay sharp. Every day, your habits are shaping it. Not once in a while. Every single day. What you do, what you repeat, what you avoid, all of it is slowly building or weakening your mind. Now think about a normal day. You wake up and check your phone. You scroll through messages, videos, short clips. Your attention jumps from one thing to another. Then you go through your routine. The same breakfast, the same path, the same tasks. Nothing new, nothing challenging. And when something feels difficult, something uncomfortable, something that requires real effort, you avoid it. This is not unusual. In fact, it is very common. But over time, this pattern creates a problem. Your brain stops being challenged. It stops adapting. It stops growing. And when something is not used in the right way, it doesn't stay the same. It slowly becomes weaker. That is why many people start to notice small changes. They walk into a room and forget why they went there. They read something and forget it a few minutes later. They try to focus, but their mind keeps drifting. Conversations feel harder to follow. Learning new things feels slower. And there is a quiet feeling in the background, like your mind is not as clear as it used to be. This is not about intelligence. It is not about talent. It is about how your brain is being used. Too much screen time trains your brain to jump, not to focus. Too much repetition puts your brain on autopilot. And a lack of challenge tells your brain, you don't need to grow anymore. When these three things come together, your mind doesn't become weak in one day. It becomes less sharp over time. And here is the important part. This process is reversible. This is not a message of fear. This is a message of awareness. Because once you see what is happening, you can change it. Your brain is flexible. It can adapt. It can rebuild. It can become sharper, clearer, and more focused again. But only if you start using it differently. So instead of asking, why is my brain getting weaker? Ask a better question. How am I training my brain every day? Because whether you realize it or not, you are already training it. The only question is, are you training it to grow, or training it to slow down? In this video, you are not going to learn random tips. You are going to learn how to train your brain in a simple, practical way. Small habits, real actions, things you can start today. Because your brain is not fixed. It is something you build. And from this moment on, you can start rebuilding it, step by step. Now that you understand your brain is changing every day, the next question is simple. How do you wake it up again? The answer is not complicated, but it requires something most people avoid, novelty and difficulty. Your brain needs new experiences and small challenges to stay flexible, alert, and alive. Let's start with something very simple, but very powerful. Do things differently. Not big changes. Small ones. For example, use your non-dominant hand. If you usually use your right hand, try using your left hand to brush your teeth, eat, open doors, or even write a few words. At first, it feels awkward, slow, maybe even frustrating. But that feeling is important. It means your brain is working harder. It is creating new connections, new pathways. You are not just moving your hand, you are waking up your brain. Most people avoid that feeling. They prefer what is easy, what is familiar. But when everything is easy, your brain becomes passive. It stops adapting. That is why small changes like this matter more than they seem. They force your brain to pay attention again. Now let's go one step further. Do one hard thing every day. Not something impossible. Just something that feels slightly uncomfortable. Something you would normally avoid. Because here is a simple truth. Discomfort is where growth begins. It could be speaking English out loud, even when you feel shy. It could be waking up earlier than usual. It could be reading something that feels difficult. It could be saying no to something that distracts you. Every time you choose a small challenge instead of comfort, you are training your brain to stay strong. Think about it like this. If you only lift light weights, your muscles stay weak. But when you lift something heavier, your muscles adapt and grow. Your brain works the same way. It needs resistance. It needs effort. Without it, it slowly declines. And this connects to something many people don't notice: routine. Routine can be helpful, but too much repetition creates autopilot. You wake up, do the same things, follow the same path, think the same thoughts. And your brain stops paying attention because it already knows what will happen next. When your brain is on autopilot, it is not fully active. It is just repeating patterns. So break that pattern. Change small things in your day. Take a different route when you walk. Sit in a different place when you work. Listen to something new. Eat something different. Start your day in a different way. These small changes send a message to your brain. Pay attention. Something is new. And that is how you keep it active. Now here is something even more powerful, and also more uncomfortable. Do things you are bad at. Most people like to stay where they feel confident. They repeat what they already know. They stay in areas where they feel good. But your brain does not grow when you are good at something. It grows when you struggle. When you try something new and fail, your brain becomes active. It starts analyzing, adjusting, learning. That is where real development happens. For example, try learning a new skill. It could be drawing, speaking in public, learning a new language pattern, or even something simple like cooking a new recipe. At first, you will make mistakes. You may feel slow. You may feel uncomfortable. But that is exactly the point. That feeling means your brain is working. If you avoid that feeling, your brain stays the same. If you accept it, your brain grows. So remember this key idea. Your brain is like a muscle. If you don't use it in the right way, it doesn't stay strong. It becomes weaker over time. Not because something is wrong with you, but because it is not being challenged. And the opposite is also true. If you challenge your brain regularly, even in small ways, it becomes sharper, faster, more flexible. You don't need extreme changes. You don't need to completely change your life. You just need to stop doing everything on autopilot. Add small challenges. Add small differences. Add moments of discomfort. Because in the end, it is very simple. No challenge means no growth. And no growth slowly becomes decline. But the moment you start challenging your brain again, even in small ways, you begin to reverse that process. You begin to wake it up. Now that you've started waking up your brain, there is something equally important you must learn: how to protect it. Because it's not enough to train your brain for a few minutes a day if the rest of your day is slowly damaging it. Many of the habits that weaken your brain don't feel dangerous. They feel normal, comfortable, even enjoyable. But over time, they reduce your focus, your clarity, and your mental energy. Let's start with one of the biggest ones: screen addiction. Your phone, your social media, short videos, endless scrolling. These things are designed to give you quick rewards. Fast dopamine. You watch one video, then another, then another. Each one is short, easy, and stimulating. Your brain gets used to constant excitement without effort. But here is the problem. When your brain gets used to fast rewards, it becomes weaker at focusing on slow tasks. Reading feels harder. Studying feels boring. Conversations feel difficult to follow. Your attention starts jumping from one thing to another. Not because you are lazy, but because your brain has been trained that way. It's like feeding your brain sugar all day. It tastes good, but it weakens you. That's why you need something very simple, but very powerful: silence. Most people are never in silence anymore. There is always music, videos, notifications, background noise. Even when they are alone, they are not truly alone with their thoughts. But your brain needs quiet time to reset, to process, to recover. So start with a small practice. Every day, spend just 10 to 20 minutes with no screen, no music, no distractions. Sit, walk, or just breathe. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. Your mind may feel restless. You may feel the urge to check your phone. But if you stay with it, something changes. Your thoughts become clearer. Your mind becomes calmer. You start to feel more present. This is not wasting time. This is recovery. And if you want to go one step deeper, combine this with something natural. Walking outside. Not with your phone. Not with headphones. Just walking. Nature has a powerful effect on your brain. It reduces stress. It calms your nervous system. It improves memory and creativity. But most importantly, it gives your brain a break from constant stimulation. When you walk in nature, your brain shifts from fast mode to deep mode. You start noticing small things, the sound of the wind, the movement of trees, the rhythm of your steps. And in that state, your mind can finally rest and reorganize. Even 10 minutes a day can make a difference. Now let's talk about something many people underestimate. Sleep. Not just how long you sleep, but how well you sleep. Because sleep is when your brain does its most important work. It clears waste, strengthens memory, and resets your emotional system. If your sleep is shallow, your brain doesn't fully recover. You wake up feeling tired, even after many hours. Your thinking becomes slower. Your focus becomes weaker. Your mood becomes unstable. And one of the biggest problems today is that people bring stimulation into their sleep. Phones next to the bed, light in the room, notifications during the night. All of these reduce the quality of your rest. So protect your sleep like something valuable. Keep your room dark. Reduce noise. Move your phone away if possible. Give your brain the environment it needs to go into deep rest. Because without deep sleep, no other habit will fully work. Now when you look at all of this together, one idea becomes very clear. Focus is not something you naturally have. It is something you train. And distraction is not something special. It is the default. If you do nothing, your brain will become distracted. It will follow easy rewards. It will avoid effort. That is normal. But if you want to stay sharp, you need to train your focus intentionally. That means reducing what weakens it and increasing what strengthens it. Less random scrolling. More quiet time. Less constant stimulation. More deep rest. Less noise. More awareness. These are not big, dramatic changes. But they are powerful. Because protecting your brain is not about doing something extreme. It is about removing what slowly damages it and giving it the space to recover. And when you do that consistently, something important happens. Your focus returns. Your thinking becomes clearer. Your mind feels lighter, not heavier. And for the first time in a long time, you start to feel in control again. Now that you are protecting your brain, the next step is to make it stronger. Not just more active, not just less distracted, but sharper, deeper, and more capable of real thinking. Because a healthy brain is not only about avoiding bad habits. It is about building strong mental skills, memory, focus, and clear thinking. Let's start with something simple but very powerful: active recall. This means trying to remember information before checking it. Most people do the opposite. They forget something, and immediately they check their phone, search online, or ask someone else. It feels easy. It feels efficient. But over time, it makes your memory weaker. Because every time you check without trying, you teach your brain. You don't need to work. I will do it for you. Instead, do this. When you forget something, pause. Close your eyes for a moment. Try to bring the answer back yourself. Even if it takes 10 or 20 seconds. Even if it feels uncomfortable. That effort is what strengthens your memory. It's like exercise. The struggle is not a problem. The struggle is the training. Now let's go deeper. What you read matters, but how you read matters even more. Many people read only things that are easy or familiar. They read quickly, they understand a little, and then they move on. But this does not build a strong mind. To grow, your brain needs challenge. It needs ideas that are new, sometimes confusing, sometimes even uncomfortable. This is what we can call deep reading. When you read something that challenges your thinking, your brain slows down. It asks questions. It tries to understand. It compares new ideas with what you already believe. And in that process, your thinking becomes deeper. So don't only read what you agree with. Sometimes choose something different. Something that makes you think, wait, is this true? That moment of confusion is not weakness. It is growth. But reading alone is not enough. If you want knowledge to stay in your mind, you need to use it. And one of the best ways to do that is very simple. Teach what you learn. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to know everything perfectly. Just take one idea you learned and explain it in your own words. You can tell a friend, speak out loud to yourself, or even write it down. When you teach, something important happens. Your brain organizes the information. It turns unclear ideas into clear ones. It connects pieces together. And that is how memory becomes stronger. If you only read, you may forget. But if you teach, you remember. Now let's look at another powerful habit, brainwriting. Most people are used to brainstorming, talking quickly, sharing ideas out loud, moving from one thought to another. But fast talking often leads to shallow thinking. Brainwriting is different. It means writing your thoughts in silence. No talking. No distractions. Just you and your mind. Set a short time, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Choose a question or a problem. Then start writing your ideas without stopping. At first, it may feel easy. But after a few minutes, your brain slows down. You run out of obvious answers. And that is where the real thinking begins. Because now, you have to go deeper. You have to push past the surface. This is where new ideas appear. Not the ones you already know, but the ones you discover. Brainwriting trains your mind to think clearly, independently, and deeply. It builds a kind of focus that is hard to develop in a noisy environment. And when you combine all these habits, one important idea becomes clear. Thinking is more powerful than consuming. Today, it is very easy to consume information. You watch videos, read posts, listen to content all day. But if you only consume and never process, your brain becomes full but not strong. You know many things, but you don't understand them deeply. A strong mind is not built by how much you take in. It is built by how much you process, question, and use. So try this simple approach. Learn something new. Then pause. Try to remember it. Think about it. Explain it. Write about it. Use it. That is how you move from passive learning to active thinking. And over time, your brain changes. You remember more. You understand faster. You think more clearly. Not because you are naturally smarter, but because you are training your mind the right way. Because in the end, a strong brain is not the one that knows the most. It is the one that can think the best. Now let's bring everything together, because this is where the real change begins. Not tomorrow, not next week, but from this moment. And the most important idea you need to understand is this. A young brain is not about age. It is about lifestyle. There are people in their 60s who think clearly, learn quickly, and stay curious every day. And there are people in their 20s who feel tired, distracted, and mentally slow. The difference is not time. The difference is how they use their brain every day. Because your brain is not fixed. It is not something that just gets worse with age. It is something that responds to how you live, to what you repeat, to what you avoid, to what you challenge yourself with. And this leads to a powerful shift in how you see yourself. You are not someone who has a good or bad brain. You are someone who is training your brain every single day. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you train it. Every time you try to remember instead of checking, you train it. Every time you do something difficult instead of something easy, you train it. Every time you sit in silence, think deeply, or learn something new, you train it. And the opposite is also true. Every time you scroll without thinking, avoid effort, repeat the same routine without awareness, you're also training your brain, just in a different direction. So the question is not, is my brain strong or weak? The real question is, what am I training my brain to become? Now here is the good news. You don't need to change everything at once. You don't need a perfect system. You don't need to be extreme. Small habits, repeated daily, create big changes over time. 10 minutes of silence. A short walk without your phone. Trying to remember before checking. Doing one uncomfortable thing. Reading something that makes you think. These are small actions. But together, they build something powerful. They bring your focus back. They sharpen your thinking. They make your mind feel lighter, clearer, more alive. And slowly, you start to notice something different. You feel more present. You understand faster. You remember more. You feel less overwhelmed by noise. Not because life became easier, but because your brain became stronger. So don't wait for a big moment to change. Start with something small. Start today. And if you want to grow in 2 ways at the same time, improve your English and build a stronger, sharper mind, then stay with this journey. Like this video if it helped you think differently. Comment, I train my brain daily. And subscribe to Invention English for more lessons that help you grow your English and your mind together. Because in the end, remember this. A strong brain is not something you have, it's something you build.